having fun this morning.
That's right.
The others have bailed on us due to the snowstorm. Actually, they didn't bail. They just don't happen to be here right now. But anyway, good morning, Foster. What you going to do for us?
We're going to make a free get underway.
Okay,
So, good.
let's roll. Okay, so take a little quick detour over here to the view of the countryside outside the window today. And this is the reason. It's just the two old guys in here this morning having some fun with the glass blowing. So right now Foster's at the furnace. He's going to gather up some glass and he'll head back over here toward his marver. On the marver he's got a couple of selections of various frit. Frit's just granular glass. It's been chopped up. What is that, the white, Foster?
This is the white. That's right.
Okay, so
Yep.
it's a very fine grain, a fairly fine grain, and then next to that is what, a turquoise?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, a turquoise, and that's also a kind of fine grain. And then he's got some clear shards over here that'll be putting on the piece for texture later on. So, right now he's reheating in the glory hole. That unit runs at about 2300 degrees Fahrenheit. That's for reheating the glass. You saw how there were little chunks of frit stuck to the gather of glass. Right now he's melting them in. So as he comes back, we'll take a quick look. And the white is almost translucent. You can barely see that there was any frit involved. Right now he's going to have a seat at the bench and grab what's known as a block. It's a wooden cup attached to a handle made of fruit wood. And what that'll help do is shape the glass, get the contour, and also chill the outside for a little stability. He wants the inside hot, so when he blows the pressurized air into the pipe, the bubble begins to expand. Okie doke. So now he's got his first gather. All righty.
Good.
So if you've got any questions or anything in mind, just go ahead and use the comment section to try that. And in case you haven't joined us on this YouTube before, we do the live streaming on the YouTube about a half hour before we start our weekly sessions, which are 2 hours each, on Facebook Live. So this is kind of an appetizer, something to whet your appetite and get you hungry for a little bit more, if you will. So Foster's got a second gather of glass on his blowing iron, and here he comes. And what he'll do now is gather the turquoise. By tapping the iron into that bowl, you can see the shards of turquoise attach. Okay. Good morning, Lynn. Welcome aboard. Okay, so we'll get these frits in here. And what's the next step on that, Foster?
I'm going to get another gather, and then we're going to put crushed clear glass over it to give the glass a mottled visual effect.
Ah, okay.
And we have the clear glass here that we'll use next.
Okay. So this is all by way of decoration. This is picking up the frit, getting things ready to roll. And you can see those colors have melted in beautifully. It looks like one uniform color. And now the chunks of the clear. And as he said, this is going to give it a mottled effect.
So we'll melt this in, block it up, reset the bubble, and get the final gather of glass.
Okay. So our blocks are made of cherry wood. I believe most any fruit wood would do, but we want something with a nice tight grain, and they're soaked in water. Those are in the buckets there at the end of his bench, and they stay in the water all the time. They create a bed of steam when the hot glass hits the surface of the cup, and it acts almost like a lubricant for the glass to roll. Also, what we're trying to do is stabilize the outside of the gather of glass while we maintain the heat on the inside. You can see the steam rising as the water creates steam and evaporates. And so we have to make sure that we don't stay too long in the block or we can actually burn them out. And if they're used properly, they'll last a few years. And there you can see the mottled effect. All those little round things, those little bubble lights, are actually the clear glass that he added to it. Now the final gather for the piece today. The furnace holds about 400 pounds of glass. Now he points that downward to let some drizzle off. He's got a little more than he needed, and also by pointing it downward, it evens out the gather along the pipe. So it doesn't have one area with a lot more glass than the other, because gravity pulls equally all the way around it. Now with a slightly larger block, he'll shape this up. Again, kind of chilling or putting a skin on the outside. The interior remains nice and hot. And so this is all the glass that he's going to need for this vase. He's going to take a reheat right now. The interior of the glass on that gather was a little bit colder than the fresh hot glass he put on. So by taking a reheat now at his glory hole, he'll equalize the temperatures throughout the glass, and it'll be a lot easier to work. It'll also come out a lot smoother. If you have a hot zone at the hot area on the outside and a cold zone in the middle, it doesn't blow out very well. By using the metal table or the marver to cool the tip of it, he sucks heat away from that bottom area of the glass. This is going to ensure that when he does inflate it, it doesn't blow the bubble all the way out to the tip. He'll pressurize the air, or he's actually blowing into it now, and you can see the expansion at the middle part, the equator, if you will, but the tip did not expand much at all. That was because of the cooling on the marver. So that's how we do a little bit of zone heating or zone cooling, if you will, when we want portions of the gather to get hot and others to be not so hot. When we heat in the glory hole, it's 360 degrees of heat all the way around. We can't just heat, well, we can heat a little bit concentrated, but it just heats everything. So our best bet is to cool the portions that we don't want very, very hot, and then take our action or manipulation. So by blowing right now, look at that. You can see the middle of it expanding, and the tip still has that conical shape because it was cooled down. Will you be using the optic bowl, Foster?
No.
No optic on this. Okay.
No optics.
Most of the glass pieces we make are constructed by forming a sphere, and then we put a jack line or a neckline in the piece near the blowpipe, and then we can either lengthen it with gravity or shorten it if we want to make a bowl. So here's the jack line we're talking about. Those metal blades are called jacks, and what Foster's doing is creating a point of separation. You can kind of see the heat zones in this. The part closer to the pipe is a little bit darker, it's a little bit cooler. And when he put that newspaper on there, that cooled that area even more. So now he blows it out into more of a spherical shape. We have a saying around here, hot glass moves, cold glass don't. And there's exactly what we do to cool portions of it, so that's the glass that doesn't move. He cooled the glass that was up near the blowpipe, up near the jack line. So when he does go to lengthen this, the bulk of the lengthening will take place in the lower sections. Right now he's going to cool the tip so he can blow it out again. And there you see the expansion. It blows it out very well. He'll reinforce the jack line, and now he's got a sphere with a jack line, which is the basic shape to create most of what we do. If we were to make this piece short and wide, we'd call it a bowl. If he makes it long and narrow, we call it a vase. He's going to use gravity and centrifugal force to swing it out and make it longer. Well, good morning from England, Steve Ellis. Glad to have you with us. All right. Oh, and an acknowledgement from Saturday. Well, thank you very much. We really enjoyed we had a little show on Saturday, mainly a group of woodworkers, but wanted to see some other crafts. So there's another YouTube video if you follow our channel, and you can see what we did last Saturday. trying to show some of the woodworkers how we approach the craft. So you saw Foster spinning the pipe around, kind of like an airplane propeller. That centrifugal force combined with gravity lengthens the piece. He'll heat it a little bit more now, and he'll go with this until he gets the length he wants. He's pulled the piece a little bit back in the glory hole, and you can see that it's orange or hot toward the tip. So that's where it will swing out. He's using a pair of jacks right now that we call paper pegs. Foster's one of the few artists that uses these. And they're actually cardboard tubes instead of metal plates. And what they really do is shape the glass without stealing a lot of heat. Right now he's flattening the bottom, and he'll be bringing a punty. Would you like me to give that a flash for you?
I think I'll be okay.
Okay. So what I've asked him is if he'd like some help, since it's just the two of us today, to reheat the piece a little bit before he attaches the punty or pontil. And this will be a transfer. So what he'll do right now is warm the piece up a little bit just to give him time to run over, grab some glass on his punty iron, then come back, pick the piece up, lay it on the bench, and put the shaped punty on it. Sounds like a lot to do. And he's got about a minute to do it. But it's going to work out just fine. So he's got his gather. He'll come over near us to the marvering table here in a moment and marver it down. Right now he's placing the piece on the bench. He shapes the punty glass without very much extending off the tip. We don't want it wobbling around. So now what he's going to do is he has a file at the bench. He'll take his tweezers first, place it in the center of the bottom. Then while rolling both irons and the glass, he keeps the punty centered. And in this case, he's going to use a drop of water on the jack line, and then he's going to tap the pipe, and he'll get another drop of water and tap the pipe, and it comes free, and it just stops at the end of the bench. We have stops on the end of the rail. So now he's successfully transferred the piece to the punty from the blowpipe. Almost all of our pieces are made by forming the bottom half to 2/3 of the vessel and then turning it around on a punty iron and finishing the top. So that's what he's working on right now. You'll also notice, if we can get a shot here, that he's got most of the piece sitting out of the door of the glory hole. That's all been shaped. It's ready to go. That's the final product right there. So he needs to heat that lip. Now every once in a while he's going to push it all the way in, and that warms the entire piece. And that's what we call a flash heat, a momentary heat to warm up the whole body. And if you think about it, that neckline was cold enough to fracture. It's going to take a little while reheating before it gets bright orange hot and ready to shape again. So that's what he's working on right now, is driving heat in the top of it. And glass blowers don't work with thermometers on the bench, but we can tell by looking at the color where the heat is. The back of the jacks make a perfect tool for flattening the lip, and then he begins to open. So as you see the bottom of it turning to that beautiful turquoise color, he's going to have to go back and reheat it in a couple of moments because we have, a minute or so of working time. Right now he's using the newspaper to chill the edge of the lip, and off he goes for a reheat. So his first action is to shove the whole thing in there because it all needs to be held above 1,000 degrees. If we don't, or if it should drop below 1,000 while he's at the bench, it would crack and shatter. Right now, again, he's heating the upper portion, the lip. You're going to steam it up this time, Foster?
Actually, I'm going to turn the lip out,
Okay.
and elongate it just a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and use the steam cone.
Okay. So we're just getting a little heads up on what his process is here so we can show you. When he says he's going to fold the lip out, he's going to use the jack blades, and he's going to lever them against the glass, and the pressure of the metal against the hot glass will move it. So there he goes, and you see that real nice flare going on there. By straddling the glass like that, he compresses it, squeezes that down. And he starts to flatten the end of it again. Now the squeezing and the turning caused it to ripple just a little bit, but he can take care of that again in just a couple moments. So right now the steam cone is blowing up the shoulder of the piece, and he'll head back for a reheat. All right, a flash of the whole thing. You want to paddle on the lip?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I've just asked him is if he would like for me to paddle the lip for him while he shapes the rest of it. So you're kind of losing the picture there while I reach in the bucket for this paddle. And what we'll do here, since you're observing, be like you're stepping up here with us and controlling the paddle. So now Foster's going to put it on the rail. He's going to take his jacks, and I'm going to put, or actually you, the viewer, are going to put this paddle across the lip and press gently.
Nice.
While he constricts it. And there we go. Beautiful. He can put the steam cone in again, and the hot glass expands right below the lip, and we've got another beautiful vase. All righty.
All right.
Way to go.
Hey.
Love it.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Now he's going to take a flash on that, then he's going to come back and he's going to knock it off with a blowpipe by cooling the punty site. He's not going to try to knock it off. He's going to chill it so that when he taps the iron, the piece will break free. So he's going to intentionally cool the punty joint with a butter knife. And now that's going to cool it enough that when he taps it with that hammer handle, it should break free. He's going to lay it up in the cradle he has there at the bench so it doesn't fall too far. It taps right off. He'll grab an insulated glove and head to the annealer. The annealer is the longest part of the glass blowing process. If we don't anneal them, they'll shatter. And away he goes to one of those big brick boxes in the back, and they're all held at 900 degrees all day. At the end of the day, they're trud off, the bricks release their heat. Thank you, Foster.
Thank
Marvelous. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
that concludes our presentation for this morning. We got to get ready for the FaceTime, and it's just the two of us. So that gives us about 10 minutes, buddy. Think we can do it?
We can do it.
Okay, why don't you all join us over on Facebook Live in a few minutes, and we'll see how the old guys rock. Bye-bye.